Good day, everyone. Welcome back to another mini session, I would say, of the Level Playing Field PROcast with your host, me, Dominic Green, managing partner of ATENANTCo Commercial Real Estate Services, where we discuss all things about leasing commercial real estate to help small and mid-sized businesses be successful, long-term, and competitive. So today's topic, um, we're going to discuss briefly especially for those growing businesses, startups that may just got additional funding, um, businesses that are really just in growth mode. Um, the type of clauses you should have in your lease to help facilitate your expansion. If you're already in a location, or even if you're going to get in at least a new location, and then kind of understand the pros and cons of all. So, you know, um, the ability to expand your usage of space um, in your own building is crucial. Hopefully, you took that in consideration when you selected the building that you wanted to lease in. To ask them that question: is there enough space to expand quickly if we needed to expand? And like I said, I hope you did that all before you leased and had those discussions. Um, Well, if you didn't, and if you're looking for a new space, that's a discussion that you need to have with the potential landlord, and then kind of go back and look at your metrics and see where that growth is going to look like. Because, like I said, if you're able to expand in your building, that saves you on additional moving costs and all the things that go along with moving. So all you have to do is basically just go up a couple of floors. Um, but to make sure you can help facilitate that, there's a couple of clauses that you should have in a lease if that's going to be a need for your business prior to signing that lease. If it's not, this is a discussion that you need to have upon renewal or prior to actually leasing. So, one of the expansion clauses um, that you'll most often probably hear, if not, is ROFO, which is basically a right of first refusal. So this gives you, as a tenant, the first right to lease space in the building should it become available um, before the landlord can actually mark it to for lease, or it can be accepted by another tenant. So typically, especially if you're a real you're a company that's sought after, um, when you're having a discussion, the landlord will grant that to you, um, giving you the ability to have the first right of basic refusal on any available space. But it's also part of you as a tenant that is looking at buildings when you're doing your due diligence, asking the landlord, that critical question, how many ROFOs are out in the building and for how much space? Because that could also hinder your growth if you need additional space. So if it's one of those spaces that you may need, somebody else might have first dibs on it. And then if you still decide to pursue forward with that particular building, you need to understand that particular tenant's needs and what kind of business they're in, and all the things that your representation can help with and do for you to help make that decision more clear for you if that's something you should proceed forward with or not. Um, but your ROFOs only typically for specific suites in the building, and hopefully it's only they're only limited to adjacent spaces and not other additional floors, but they can be. It just really depends on the company. But for you, if there's a suite next door, and you know that based on the initial metrics and the way that the business is going, that you'll probably be rapidly growing more here in the next 12 to 18 months. It's definitely an option that you should consider having in your lease or having a clause in your lease. So either you're going to be doing an RFO for the entire space or maybe for part of the space. Um, and then kind of go from there. So I guess the pro is it just gives you first dibs, you would say, on current space. It gives you the opportunity, the chance to take available space before it's marketed or before it's executed by another tenant. Um, the I guess the downside part of it doesn't necessarily the ROFO. I guess it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you'll lease the new space. It just gives you the opportunity because the landlord could be when they're just the space that they're offering um, could have potentially unfavorable um, terms and conditions. Above market rents, a longer term lease with it, or a longer term that's associated with the space that you don't want to commit to. So you either negotiate those things or you'll just pass on the space.